Hello, my dear friends. My dear friends, let's look at certain very important facts related to William Faulkner's third novel that is very important from competition point of view. The novel that William Faulkner published in the year 1929. Remember, 1929 is the year William Faulkner published his greatest novel, that is The Sound and the Fury. But here we are going to discuss in detail everything related to this novel, including the summary of this novel, that is SARTORIS. That is all about the decay of aristocracy of Mississippi. So, without any further delay, let's look at certain very important facts related to this novel. After that, we'll go through the summary of this novel, and time and again I'll try to let you know some other important fact wherever it will be necessary. So let's begin. See, SARTORIS, SARTORIS, remember that? Third just novel published. The original, remember that, the original title of the novel was Flag in the Dust. When just it is said that probably just William Faulkner worked on this novel in the year 1924-25 round, but wherever he sent, I mean to say that he sent to as many publishers to publish this novel with the title Flag in the Dust. But unfortunately, William Faulkner failed to find a publisher. But in the year 1929, this maybe I may have mentioned the probably the publisher. Let's check. No, the publisher is not mentioned, and to some extent it is not clear that just who published it, but whosoever published this novel did not publish with the just original title that William Faulkner gave it, but a new title was given to this novel, that is SARTORIS. But remember, the full text with the original title was published as many as 40 years, you can say that more than 40 years just later in the year 1973. Remember that the full version, the full text of this novel was published in the year 1973 with the original title Flag in the Dust, and this was the abridged short version of the novel that was published in the year 1929, and in this way it became the third published novel of William Faulkner with the title SARTORIS. Next, see this original title I have mentioned, published 1929. This full text was published in 1973 with the title Flag in the Dust. Remember, these facts are very important from competition point of view. First novel set in Yoknapatawpha County, Mississippi, and remember that William Faulkner actually sets almost all his important novels or the famous novels in his imaginary county, that is Yokna-Patawpha County, in the southern state of America, that is Mississippi. So this was, remember this was the first novel in which, this was the first novel in which we just find Yokna-Patawpha County, or this was the first novel that has its setting, that is Yokna-Patawpha County in Mississippi, a southern US state. So first novel set in Yokna-Patawpha County, Mississippi, all about the decay of Mississippi aristocracy. And remember, the central theme of this novel is the decay of Mississippi aristocracy. See, just the decay of the aristocracy of Mississippi just happened to some extent, or not to great extent, because of the World War, because of the World War. The World War that later on led to the American Civil War. And in that American Civil War, aristocracy, or the aristocratic families of Mississippi suffered a lot. They suffered a lot. Why? Because for a long time they had been resting on that glory their ancestors, or yes, there to some extent their ancestors had brought for them. But here this novel deals with the decay of the Mississippi aristocracy. So all about the decay of the Mississippi aristocracy. Sorry. Now some important fact that is very, very important for you to bear in mind, like Faulkner's grandfather, William Clark Faulkner. Remember that William Faulkner's grandfather's name was William Clark Faulkner. Spelling, see this spelling different. He was a colonel in the Civil War. Remember that. William Faulkner's grandfather, William Clark Faulkner, was a colonel in the Civil War. And William Faulkner has here created a character based on the model of his colonel grandfather, William Clark Faulkner. See this, modeled for Colonel John Sartoris. Colonel John Sartoris. Time and again we hear in the novel, this novel Sartoris, and this character is modeled, or was modeled, by Faulkner on the character of his grandfather, William Clark Faulkner. Remember, the certain characters are modeled on certain characters or certain people related to William Faulkner, like this one. Next character is Faulkner's friend from Oxford, Ben Wesson, is model for Horace Benbow. Horace Benbow, a very important character of this novel Sartoris, is based on William Faulkner's friend from Oxford named Ben Wesson. Then we have Faulkner's brother Murray for young Bayard Sartoris, and young Bayard Sartoris is the just a central character of this novel, or you can say he is the protagonist of this novel, who just who behaves in a very reckless manner, somehow trying to just maintain that glory his great grandfather or his grandfather just brought for the country or maintained in Mississippi. And because of that, he does this nonsense, that nonsense, drives recklessly. And he truly shows that decay the just Mississippi aristocracy suffered. So he is the central character of this novel. He is the protagonist of this novel, based on Faulkner's brother Murray. Publisher, yes, I told you I just no idea about the publisher. The publisher of this novel was, remember, publisher. That's the Harcourt Brace. Remember that this person gets the credit of publishing this novel. And who changed the original title? Maybe it is not clear. So now let's look at the plot. The just story of this novel. How does it develop? I told you, remember that young Bayard Sartoris is the protagonist of this novel. He tries to show that heroism, to show that adventure. His grandfather John Sartoris just had shown or somehow maintained in just Mississippi, but he fails. Why? Because he tries to just maintain that heroism and that glory by doing something that is rash, that is reckless, and that results in his sad and sudden demise, that is death. So now, plot of the novel in nutshell means, in brief, Bayard Sartoris comes home to Jefferson from WW1, means World War One. Remember that. So when the novel opens, we get to know that this person, young Bayard Sartoris, is home. He gets back to his home in Jefferson from the World War One, in which he suffers the loss of the life of his brother. He's very much sad, he's very much frustrated. So see, in which he served as aviator, and so remember that. How does he serve in the World War One? As a pilot. He serves the World War One as a pilot. Now he is home. His brother of flyer. His brother was also a pilot, killed in the war, and he has suffered the loss of the life of his dear brother. His Bayard grandpa, old Bayard, head of Sartoris banking interest, and Miss Jenny, old Bayard's aunt, remember that she is the woman of about 80 years. So remember, see, the most important thing for you from competition point of view is that all you need to bear in mind the plot. You must have a rough, just a rough structure of the plot in your mind, and the characters, very important, the characters, and the publication title, original title, so on and so forth. So, Old Bayard, head of SARTORIS banking interest, Miss Jenny, auntie to Old Bayard's auntie, about 80 years, and others, including pre-war associates and black tenants, frame young Bayard's attempted re-entry into normal life. So see, these people, Miss Jenny, so on and so forth, try to somehow make sure for this young Bayard that it is possible for him to live a normal life, but they fail to do that. Why? Because he behaves in a reckless manner, drives in a reckless manner. Why? Because maybe he has lost his brother, he's absolutely disillusioned. Why? Because this person, by no way here we see that these people do glorify war. War is by no way glorified at all. Here, just how aristocracies suffer the damage. That is the primary concern of William Faulkner. So, different just characters, they try to normalize the life of this person who is home from the World War One, in which he lost his brother, but no use at all. You see this. So these people frame young Bayard's attempted re-entry into normal life, along with a complicated family background of feudal convention, stubborn pride, and a certain glamorous fatality bound up in the family names themselves. The names remind old Bayard's father. Remember that old Bayard's father, John, just based on the just a character of this character is based on William Faulkner's grandfather, John, founder of the Sartoris house in Mississippi, and his brother, another Bayard, killed in the Civil War, as well as young John, who all exist as active presence and influences, palpable ghost. Extremely sorry. Desolated by his twins' death and the deaths of his wife Carolyn and their infant son. So see how much he has suffered. This young Bayard has suffered a lot, suffered the just loss of the life of his own brother, then by his just desolated by death of his twins, death of twins, this is not apostrophe, death of the twins and the death of his wife Carolyn, and remember, and their infant son. So see, this young Bayard has suffered a lot. It's all because of that. It's all because of that he is so just, you can say, so reckless. Not, it is almost impossible for him to live the life in a normal manner. So see that. Bayard drives and boozes and hunts with cold recklessness alone in the bleak and barren world of his despair, knowingly wooing death. So he drinks, just he wanders, he just recklessly drives, and to some extent it won't be wrong to say that it seemed as if he was courting death. Time and again he was doing things in such a reckless manner that it seemed that he was trying to invite the death. trying to invite the bull to come and go and finish him. He weds Narcissa. Now he weds to a young woman from the renowned Benbow family named Narcissa of the renowned Benbow family. Remember that? To whom Byron Snopes, a bookkeeper. That's another character, Byron Snopes. He is the bookkeeper at the bank. Has been sending anonymous letters without names of crazed lust, whose brother Horace, like Bayard, has returned from the war, obsessed with poetic image of the meaning of peace. So Narcissa's brother, remember Horace is Narcissa's brother, and Horace is based on just a Faulkner's sorry Faulkner's friend. Based on this character, Horace is Faulkner has created this character on the model of his friend Ben Vasson. Just as young Bayard has returned Jefferson from the World War I, suffering the loss of his own brother, in the same manner, Narcissa's brother has also come back home from the World War I. Remember that. And he has the obsession for the meaning of peace. So see, young Bayard marries Narcissa. Narcissa is continually receiving letters from remember that, Byron Snopes, in which he expresses his strong just hunger, strong lust, with just the letters do not just bear the name of the sender. He sends only anonymous letters with no name of the sender. But here, just young Bayard finally settles down by marrying Narcissa. And when this young Bayard marries and settles down with Narcissa, we as a reader assume and hope and think that now he'll stop behaving in a reckless manner, stop behaving in a very cynical manner. But to our great surprise, he brings no change in his own behavior. See what happens. But neither Narcissa's love, nor their expected child, nor even his guilt over old Bayard's death from heart failure during a wild auto ride can alter his despair. So see, his marriage, he just marries Narcissa, and now Narcissa expects their first child. Even then, there is no respite to the despair of this young man. He behaves in the same reckless manner he behaved before just marriage. See, he is straightway involved in the death of old Bayard. Why? Because once he was driving, and the car he was driving, in that car this old Bayard was sitting. Even then he was driving recklessly, and at a certain place he hit the car, or he crashed the car. And in that just a crash, he did not sustain injuries, nor the old man sustained injury, but the impact of the collision and the reckless driving was so great on him that this person suffered heart attack and died. So that that death because of him, and this marriage, and this their baby that is about to be born, these all things do not bring any change in his recklessness, and he behaves in the same manner the way he behaved earlier. He leaves home. See now, in his despair, one day, this man, means young Bayard, leaves home, wanders in South America and then in the US, and is killed tasting a new kind of aircraft he seems to know is unsafe. So one day he lives in his own despair. He leaves his home in his own despair, wanders all about the South America. William Faulkner represents Southern America, remember that? So one day Bayard leaves home in despair. One is all about the South America, then the US, and there he just flies a plane. That is what he flies up. That was a kind of a testing flies a testing new kind of aircraft, and to some extent it seemed that he knows that flying that new kind of aircraft only for checking is somewhat risky, somewhat dangerous. Even then he decides to drive, he decides to go on a testing drive, and the result is that the plane crashes and he dies. On the day he dies, his son is born and named Benbow Sartoris. And the day his just a plane, that new aircraft crashes, and in that crash he dies. The same day, Narcissa, his wife, delivers his baby boy, and that baby boy, as per the custom, as per the tradition of the aristocratic family of Mississippi, named after a certain person of the family. And what is then what the name the child gets? Benbow Sartoris. Here Narcissa decides to do away with that system, with that custom, with that tradition of naming the just naming the just newborn babies of the coming generation, or giving the name of the newborn babies of the coming generation the name of the ancestors. See, what does she do? See, Narcissa gestures away from the Sartoris nomenclature. Nomenclature means that a system, or that terminology, or that a process, or the act of naming the just children, bearing in mind the names of the just people belonging to the previous generation. She decides that, she just does away with that system, that tradition and that custom. The dusk of names people with ghost of glamorous and all disastrous things. So the day young Bayard is killed in the just in a plane crash, aircraft crash, the same day Narcissa delivers Bayard's son. But that day Narcissa decides to do away with that custom, with that tradition of naming the just young babies after the names of the people just belonging to the previous generation. So hope, my dear friends, this short summary of this novel to some extent would have become absolutely clear to you, or this short summary of mine of this novel to some extent just would have helped you understand this novel. See, before I wrap it, before I go, one thing again I would like to tell you. From competition point of view, all you need to know about the title of the novel, original title I told you, that Flag in the Dust. Sartoris was the abridged version of Flag in the Dust. The full text was published in the year 1973. This was the abridged version. Who changed the name from Flag in the Dust to Sartoris? It is not clear. This Harcourt Brace was the person who published this novel in a precise form with the change of the just title. Publication of this novel 1929. Certain characters like John, based on, sorry, just yes, Colonel John Sartoris is modeled on William Clark, just Faulkner, William Faulkner's just grandfather. These details are very, very important. Young Bayard is the central character, that is important. His brother dies, his wife Narcissa just delivers the baby, just delivers his baby or their baby on the day he dies in a plane crash while he is just flying just a new kind of aircraft only for the test purpose. So these facts, these things are very, very important, and if you are going to bear in mind, sufficient. So that's it, my dear friends, in this video.